What if I told you that tomorrow, February 17th, holds a cosmic doorway that opens only once this year, and what you do in those 24 hours could literally rewrite the entire trajectory of your 2026? Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but actually, energetically, quantum mechanically rewrite it. Right now, type in the comments, "I am ready to transform," because what I'm about to reveal isn't for the casual observer. This is for those who sense there's something more, something hidden beneath the surface of ordinary time. And if you feel that pull, that inexplicable knowing that tomorrow is special, hit that like button, not for me, but as a declaration to the universe that you're choosing to step through this portal consciously. Listen carefully. The ancient mystics, the Hermetic masters, the Kabbalists, and the Vedic seers all understood something that modern humanity has forgotten. Time is not linear, it's layered, it's woven, and within the fabric of the calendar year, there are specific nodes, temporal power points, where the veil between intention and manifestation grows razor thin. February 17th is one of these nodes. Why February 17th specifically? Because we're standing in the energetic corridor between the death of winter and the first stirrings of spring's creative force. We're past the New Year's superficial resolutions, past the initial enthusiasm that fades by February. We're in the void, that sacred space the alchemists called the nigredo, the blackness before transformation. And it's precisely in this void where true change becomes possible. In this video, I'm going to reveal the exact metaphysical mechanics of why tomorrow carries this power, the ancient practices that were specifically designed for moments like this, and the precise ritual sequence you need to perform on February 17th to lock in the reality you want for the remaining 318 days of 2026. This isn't manifestation theory. This isn't positive thinking. This is reality architecture, and you're about to learn how to become the architect. To understand why February 17th holds such profound power, we must journey back through the mists of time to the mystery schools of ancient Egypt, to the temples of Mesopotamia, and to the hidden chambers where initiates learned the true nature of temporal magic. The Egyptians didn't view time as we do, a straight line from past to future. They understood time as nehe and jet, cyclical time and eternal time, the spinning wheel and the unchanging axis. They knew that certain days existed at the intersection of these two forces, days when the spiral of cyclical time aligned perfectly with the vertical pillar of eternity. These were the days when the gods themselves could be petitioned, when fate itself could be rewritten. In the sacred calendar of ancient Rome, February was dedicated to Februa, the festival of purification. The word itself means to cleanse or to purify. But this wasn't just about cleaning your house or fasting. The Romans, inheriting wisdom from the Etruscans, who themselves inherited it from far older sources, understood that mid-February represented the cosmic moment when the old year's energetic residue could be completely washed away before the spring equinox birthed the new cycle. The 17th day specifically carries a mathematical and mystical significance that spans cultures. In Pythagorean numerology, 17 reduces to 8, the number of infinity, of cosmic balance, of cause and effect. 8 laid on its side is the lemniscate, the symbol of eternal recurrence and unlimited potential. The Pythagoreans, who were as much mystics as mathematicians, taught that certain numbers were doorways through which divine intelligence flowed into material reality. In the Kabbalistic tradition, we find even deeper layers. The Hebrew calendar system, which tracks both solar and lunar cycles, recognizes that the period we call mid to late February often aligns with specific positions in the month of Adar or Shevat, depending on the year, months associated with hidden miracles and the reversal of seemingly fixed decrees. The mystics spoke of itaruta delatata, an awakening from below that triggers a response from above. Certain days, they taught, were particularly receptive to this awakening. But perhaps most fascinating is what we find in the Vedic texts of ancient India. The Muhurta system, the science of auspicious timing, teaches that time itself has quality, not just quantity. Some moments are spiritually thick with creative potential, while others are thin and unreceptive. The period between winter's dormancy and spring's explosion is considered a sandhi, a junction point, a liminal threshold where the rules of normal causality are temporarily suspended. The Chinese understood this too. In the Fu Qing, the ancient book of changes, we find the concept of ji, the critical moment, the hinge point where small actions create enormous effects. They called it the moment of return, when yang energy begins its ascent after yin's dominance. This isn't superstition. It's sophisticated observation of natural cycles and their correspondence with human consciousness. What all these traditions point to is a singular truth that modern science is only now beginning to validate through quantum physics and chronobiology. Consciousness and time are entangled. The observer affects the observed. And certain moments in the calendar year represent enhanced states of entanglement where the probability field of your future becomes unusually malleable, unusually responsive to focused intention. February 17th, 2026, sits at precisely this kind of junction. It's not arbitrary, it's not superstition. It's the recognition of a pattern that repeats across traditions, across continents, across millennia. A pattern that points to an underlying structure in reality itself, a structure that the awakened have always known how to navigate. Now, let me reveal the exact mechanism of how this works, because understanding the architecture of reality is what separates those who hope from those who command. Imagine for a moment that your life, your entire 2026, already exists as a field of potentiality, not as a fixed future, but as a quantum superposition of infinite possible timelines, all hovering in a state of not yet collapsed probability. Right now, as you watch this, your future is literally undecided at the deepest levels of reality. It's a wave function that hasn't been observed yet, a story whose ending is still being written in the invisible ink of consciousness. This is where most people misunderstand manifestation. They think it's about creating something from nothing, about bending reality to their will through sheer force of desire. But the ancient adepts knew something far more sophisticated. You don't create your future. You select it from the infinite menu of possibilities that already exist in what the mystics called the Akashic field, what physicists might call the quantum vacuum, what philosophers termed the realm of pure potential. Every choice you make, every thought you think, every emotion you feel is essentially a vote. You're voting for which timeline becomes your lived experience. But here's the crucial insight that changes everything. Not all moments have equal voting power. Most days, your vote counts as 1. But on certain days like February 17th, your vote counts as 1,000, maybe 10,000. Why? Because of resonance. Think of reality as an enormous musical instrument, a cosmic orchestra playing the symphony of existence. Most of the time, you're trying to add your small voice to the overwhelming noise of the collective human chorus, the momentum of your past patterns, the gravitational pull of your habitual timeline. It's like trying to change the course of a massive ship with a tiny rudder. possible, but requiring enormous, sustained effort. But at specific moments in the cosmic calendar, something extraordinary happens. The collective human consciousness enters a moment of pause, a breath between notes. The momentum of the old patterns momentarily weakens. The ship of fate finds itself in still waters. And in that moment of stillness, even a small force, a clear intention, a focused ritual, a conscious choice, can redirect the entire trajectory. The Hermetic principle states, "As above, so below, as within, so without." What this means is that macrocosmic cycles, the movement of planets, the turning of seasons, the rhythms of solar activity, are reflected in microcosmic human consciousness. When winter transitions to spring in the outer world, your psyche undergoes a parallel transition. The same creative force that will soon push tulips through frozen ground is stirring in your own depths. February 17th, specifically, represents what I call the reset point. You're 48 days into the year, far enough that the false promises and superficial changes of January have already fallen away, revealing what's real. But you're still early enough that the year's trajectory hasn't fully calcified. It's like catching a train that's just beginning to leave the station versus trying to jump aboard when it's already at full speed. Here's what's happening at multiple levels simultaneously. Biologically, your circadian rhythms and hormonal cycles are responding to the increasing daylight. Your pineal gland, that mysterious third eye the ancients revered, is producing different ratios of melatonin and serotonin. Your brain is literally more plastic, more receptive to new patterns during this seasonal transition. Energetically, if you're sensitive to such things, you can feel it. The collective field of human consciousness is itself shifting. Millions of people in the Northern Hemisphere are unconsciously sensing spring's approach, creating a morphic field, as Rupert Sheldrake would call it, of renewal and new beginnings. When you consciously work with this energy, instead of being passively carried by it, you harness power that's already in motion, quantum mechanically, and this is where it gets truly fascinating. Your observation of your own future possibilities during this window of heightened plasticity has a disproportionate collapsing effect on the probability wave. It's as if the universe is asking, "What do you want this year to be?" And tomorrow, on February 17th, it's actually listening with far greater attention than usual. The ancient mystery school initiates understood this as working with the tides rather than against the current. They didn't try to manifest against the flow of cosmic rhythm. They learned to recognize the moments when the tide was turning in their favor, and they struck then, decisively, consciously, with full ceremonial power. But there's a deeper layer to this that most spiritual teachers won't tell you, either because they don't know it or because they fear you're not ready to hear it. The truth is this: February 17th isn't just an opportunity, it's also a test. And understanding this distinction is what separates genuine transformation from temporary enthusiasm. The universe, consciousness, God, the Tao, whatever you choose to call the intelligent organizing principle behind reality, doesn't just hand out gifts. It responds to signal strength. It responds to coherence. It responds to those who demonstrate they're serious, not through words, but through energetic alignment and committed action. Think of it like this. Imagine you're standing before an enormous cosmic mirror, infinitely sensitive and infinitely precise. This mirror doesn't reflect your face. It reflects your true energetic state, your genuine level of commitment, the actual vibration of your being beneath all your stories and self-deceptions. Tomorrow, on February 17th, this mirror becomes hyperactive. Whatever you truly are, whatever you genuinely intend from the depths of your being, gets reflected back to you with amplified force throughout the remainder of the year. This is why the ancient texts always included warnings alongside their promises. The Emerald Tablet speaks of separating the subtle from the gross, gently and with great ingenuity. The subtle work, the inner alignment, the clearing of contradictory intentions, the resolution of internal conflicts must happen before the gross manifestation can occur cleanly. Here's what this means practically. If you approach February 17th with surface-level wishes, with goals that aren't rooted in your authentic self, with intentions that contradict your deeper values or your soul's true purpose, the day will still amplify your signal. But it will amplify the confusion, the misalignment, the contradiction. You'll spend 2026 getting exactly what you asked for on the surface while feeling mysteriously empty, because you manifested from ego rather than from essence. The Kabbalists had a teaching about this. They said there are two types of prayer. The prayer of small consciousness, which asks for specific outcomes, and the prayer of expanded consciousness, which aligns the personal will with divine will. The first type sometimes works, but often creates as many problems as it solves. The second type always works, because you're not trying to bend reality to your limited perspective. You're expanding your perspective to encompass a reality far grander than your ego could imagine. This is the paradox at the heart of all genuine magic, all real manifestation. You must want what you want with absolute clarity and fierce intention, while simultaneously remaining unattached to the specific form it takes and open to something even better than you can currently conceive. You must be both the archer with perfect aim and the arrow that surrenders to flight. The Taoist sage Lao Tzu captured this perfectly when he wrote, "The sage does nothing, yet nothing remains undone." This isn't passivity. It's operating from such profound alignment with the Tao, with the flow of reality itself, that your actions become effortless expressions of what wants to happen through you rather than desperate attempts to force outcomes. Now, let's address something crucial that creates confusion for many seekers. You might be thinking, if February 17th is so powerful, why haven't I heard about it before? Why isn't everyone talking about this date? And this question reveals a profound truth about how esoteric knowledge actually works. The mystery schools never broadcast their secrets in the marketplace. They didn't because such knowledge, given to those unprepared or unwilling to do the inner work, becomes either useless or dangerous. A person must arrive at the threshold with genuine readiness, with ears to hear and eyes to see. The date itself, February 17th, is simultaneously specific and symbolic. It represents a principle, a pattern that manifests at certain junctures. Different lineages recognize different power dates based on their calendar systems, their geographical locations, their specific transmission of knowledge. What matters isn't that everyone agrees on the same date. What matters is that you recognize the principle. There are moments of enhanced potency, and conscious beings learn to recognize and utilize them. In the Hermetic tradition, this was called the doctrine of signatures, the understanding that reality leaves clues, signs, patterns that the awakened can read. The number 17, the position in February, the astronomical alignments occurring around this time, the collective unconscious patterns. These are signatures indicating heightened potential. But here's the final piece of this puzzle, the one that completes the picture. The power of February 17th isn't ultimately in the date itself. The power is in you, activated and focused by the ceremonial container of this moment. The date is a key, but you are the lock. The date is the invitation, but you are the one who must walk through the door. The ancient adepts knew this secret above all others. Consciousness is the ultimate creative force in the universe. Everything else, rituals, dates, symbols, tools, exists only to concentrate, focus, and direct that consciousness toward its highest expression. Tomorrow isn't magical because some external force descends to grant wishes. Tomorrow is magical because you're going to make it magical by showing up fully present, fully committed, fully aligned with the deepest truth of who you are and what you're here to become. Now, we arrive at the moment you've been waiting for, the exact process, the specific ritual, the practical steps you must take on February 17th to lock in your transformed 2026. But understand this. These aren't arbitrary actions. Each step corresponds to a specific layer of reality, working from the densest physical plane up through the emotional, mental, and spiritual dimensions. Begin your day before dawn, if possible. The hours between 4 and 6 a.m. carry a special quality that yogis call Brahma Muhurta, the Creator's hour. The world sleeps, the collective mental noise is at its lowest, and your own consciousness emerges from the dream state still connected to deeper realms. If dawn isn't possible, choose the earliest moment you can be alone and undisturbed. What matters most is the quality of presence you bring, not the perfection of timing. Step 1. The purification. Before you can receive the new, you must release the old. Take a shower or bath with the explicit intention of washing away not just physical dirt, but energetic residue. As the water touches your skin, visualize it carrying away every failed attempt, every disappointment, every limiting belief from the past 48 days of this year. See the water turning gray or black as it drains, taking with it everything that doesn't serve your highest becoming. This isn't metaphor. Water is a carrier of information, as Masaru Emoto's research demonstrated. Your intention imprints the water, and the water affects your cellular and energetic structure. As you dry yourself, imagine you're stepping into a completely clean, energetic slate. Speak aloud. I stand at 0 point. The past has no claim on this moment. Feel the truth of this in your body. Step 2. The sacred space. Find a place where you won't be interrupted for at least 30 minutes. It doesn't need to be elaborate. A corner of your bedroom, a quiet spot in nature, anywhere you can sit comfortably. If you have a candle, light it. Fire represents transformation, the alchemical force that transmutes lead into gold, confusion into clarity. If you don't have a candle, use your focused attention as the flame. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. This isn't about rigid posture. It's about creating an unobstructed channel from earth to sky, from root to crown. The ancient Egyptians called this the Jed pillar, the axis mundi, the world tree that connects dimensions. Step 3. The inventory. Take out paper and pen. Physical writing, not digital. There's a reason ancient scribes understood the power of ink on papyrus. The hand-brain connection activates different neural pathways and creates stronger energetic imprints than typing. Draw a line down the center of your page, creating 2 columns. On the left, write this header: What I release. On the right, what I call forth. Now here's the crucial part that most people get wrong. You must be ruthlessly specific and brutally honest. Don't write what you think you should release or what sounds spiritually impressive. Write what's actually true. On the left side, list the patterns, beliefs, relationships, habits, fears, and identities that you know are holding you back. Not surface things, deep things. I release the belief that I'm not worthy of abundance. I release the pattern of abandoning myself to please others. I release the identity of being a victim of my circumstances. Write until you feel empty, until you've excavated the real obstacles. On the right side, write what you genuinely desire to experience in 2026. But write it in present tense, as if it's already real. I am living in financial freedom. I am expressing my authentic creativity. I am in a relationship that honors my full being. Feel into each statement. Does it make your body expand or contract? Expansion is truth. Contraction is ego disguised as desire. Step 4. The burning ritual. This is where the alchemical transformation happens. Take the left column, everything you're releasing, and burn it, safely, deliberately, watching the paper transform into ash and smoke. As it burns, understand that you're not just destroying paper. You're engaging in sympathetic magic, the principle that what you do in ceremony affects corresponding realities in other dimensions. The burning represents energetic dissolution, the breaking of contracts with old timelines. As the smoke rises, speak. I release these patterns to the fire of transformation. They served me once. They serve me no longer. I am free. Keep the right column, what you're calling forth. Fold it carefully and place it somewhere you'll see it daily, or carry it with you. This anchors the new pattern into your physical reality through repeated exposure and reinforcement. Step 5. The commitment action. Here's where most spiritual work fails. It stays in the realm of intention and never bridges into incarnation. The universe doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to movement, to action, to demonstrated commitment. You must do something on February 17th that represents a tangible step toward your new reality. If you declared financial freedom, move some money, even a small amount, into an investment or savings. If you declared authentic creativity, create something and share it. If you declared a transformed relationship with your body, move it in a new way. The action doesn't need to be huge. It needs to be real, physical, and aligned with your declaration. This creates what physicists call entanglement between your intention and material reality. Step 6. The gratitude seal. Before you close the ritual, place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating. That beating is the universe saying yes to your existence, moment by moment. Speak gratitude. Not for what you hope to receive, but for the privilege of being conscious, of having choice, of standing at this threshold. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for the power to choose. This gratitude isn't transactional, it's transformational. It shifts you from the vibration of lack to the vibration of abundance, and the universe can only give you more of whatever frequency you're broadcasting. Throughout the rest of February 17th, move through your day with heightened awareness. Notice synchronicities, unexpected conversations, opportunities that arise. The universe speaks in whispers, in coincidences, in the language of symbolism. Pay attention. And most importantly, for the next 28 days, one full lunar cycle, commit to taking one action each day, no matter how small, that aligns with what you called forth. This creates momentum, builds the energetic structure, and demonstrates to the universe that you're serious. If you do this, truly do this, not half-heartedly but with full presence, February 17th becomes the hinge point around which your entire year turns. Not because the date is magic, but because you became the magician. So here we stand, at the threshold of something rare and precious, a moment that comes once, that asks everything of you and offers everything in return. Tomorrow, February 17th, the cosmic tumblers align. The lock opens, the door stands before you. But understand this with complete clarity. The door doesn't open itself. Knowledge without application is just entertainment. Inspiration without action is just another beautiful idea that dies in the graveyard of someday. Let me tell you what will happen if you do nothing with what you've learned here today. February 17th will come and go like any other day. March will arrive, then April, then suddenly it's December again, and you're looking back at 2026 wondering why nothing changed, why you're still stuck in the same patterns, why the year that held so much promise feels like just another rotation around the sun. And the tragedy isn't that you failed, it's that you never truly tried. You knew the secret, you held the key, but you never turned it in the lock. But there's another possibility, and it's available to you right now in this moment. You can decide, truly decide, not with your hoping mind, but with your sovereign will, that tomorrow marks the point of demarcation between who you were and who you're becoming. You can engage this ritual not as a curious experiment, but as a sacred commitment to your own evolution. You can show up with the full force of your consciousness and declare to the universe, I am ready, I am willing, I am here. The ancient mystery schools had a teaching they shared only with advanced initiates. The universe doesn't reward belief, it rewards becoming. You don't need to believe this will work, you need to become the person for whom this works. And that becoming starts with a single choice, a single action, a single moment of total commitment. Think about this. Every person who ever transformed their life, whoever broke free from limitation, whoever manifested something extraordinary, they all stood exactly where you're standing now. They all had a moment where they could choose comfort or courage, distraction or discipline, the familiar prison or the unknown freedom. And they chose the path that required something of them. They chose to act. February 17th is your moment. Not because I say so, not because some ancient text says so, but because you feel it, that knowing deep in your bones that something significant is available to you now, something that won't be available in quite the same way again. So tomorrow, when you wake up, remember this. You are not a victim of time. You are a creator within it. You're not hoping the universe will grant you a better life. You're consciously selecting which timeline you inhabit. And the power to make that selection has always been yours. Tomorrow, you're just learning to use it with precision, with purpose, with the full backing of cosmic forces that have been waiting for you to finally wake up and claim your inheritance. The mystics were right about one thing above all others. You are far more powerful than you've been taught to believe. Tomorrow is your opportunity to remember that power, to exercise it, to step into the magnitude of what you actually are. Do the ritual. Take the action. Make the commitment. And then watch as 2026 unfolds, not as something that happens to you, but as something that happens through you, as you, by the creative force of your conscious participation in your own becoming. The door is open. The path is clear. The only question that remains is, will you walk through? I'll see you on the other side of your transformation. Now go prepare for tomorrow. Your future self is waiting.